Hi, I'm Amanda, Partee-Manders,
Hey, I'm Matt Kenck. I work with Supreme Lending, mortgage side of the business.
and I am a realtor, a full-time realtor, former educator, turned realtor. I am also an avid runner. I'm an artist. Because I did teach for so long, I guess you can take the girl out of the classroom. Can't take the learning and the teaching out of the girl. My goal is to educate as much as possible on home buying, home selling, all the questions that you may have to ease the process. That's ultimately the goal, and that's what we're going to talk about. Navigating the process, answering any questions that you may have. If you do have any questions, you can comment. You can send me a message, send me a text. I'll try my best to answer them. Either I can message you back or I can answer them through video here if it's something that we feel like a lot of people would benefit from.
Awesome. Yeah. Look forward to bringing you some useful information. We're here as a resource. That's our goal here, to put ourselves out there and really help educate and lift the veil off of the common questions and bring it down to common terms and give you some relevant information that we think will be helpful during the buying process or even getting ready to buy a house.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Thanks.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm ready.
Whenever you
Okay, so credit scores are an important factor in the home lending process. We're here to answer any questions that you may have about that. Why do credit scores matter?
Yeah, that's a great question. And credit scores are fundamental to a lot of different things in our life, whether you like it or not. There's just a lot of different things that are based on credit scores. Well, obviously, we're here talking about home buying process and mortgages, but everything from car insurance to your homeowner's insurance, which is a part of this process. Everything from buying a cell phone to buying a car to getting utilities, a ton of different things that involve today in credit scores. The bottom line is credit scores are a risk assessment that different lenders and financial companies use to kind of determine how responsible you are and how likely you are to pay something back. And whether you agree with the theory or not, that's just the world that we live in right now. And it is helpful to work on our credit and have good credit if possible, to essentially a higher credit score in the eyes of most banks and financial institutions means that you're more responsible. Therefore, they're willing to give you lower interest rates, lower deposits, different, more favorable terms versus someone that has a lower credit score. They might be looked at as less responsible per se. You know, it's just more expensive to borrow money and to buy things in general.
So bottom line, credit is important. We need to do the things to work on our credit. But what if we don't have credit, but we have cash flow, we have little debt? What do those people do?
That's something that we see a lot right now. Honestly, you have first-time home buyers. I've personally seen a lot of younger people out wanting to buy houses, which is fantastic. But unfortunately, you know, they might not have built up a credit history yet. They might not, a lot of people don't have credit cards. You know, and then you also have people on the other end of the spectrum that might be later in life who have more cash flow. You know, you don't need to use debt anymore. You don't like debt, or you don't have car payments and so on and so forth. The good thing is there are alternative ways. When it comes to buying a house, we call building alternative credit. We do have ways, and every situation is different, of course, but there are ways to show that you have a credit history by showing that you've been paying bills. We can get documentation of certain bills that we've been paying for a year or more. Everything's case by case, but there are certainly options. On the first-time home buyer, people that are younger, earlier in life, honestly, we go to great lengths to give them long-term game plans so they can build credit, because this is something, you know, honestly, that they're probably going to be dealing with for a long time.
Right. Well, that's also why if you're someone that you're in this boat and, you know, maybe you have money and you don't want to deal with debt and all of those things, reach out to a real estate agent, reach out to a lender. It's never going to cost you anything to be educated and to kind of know where you stand. So that's why it's really important to just kind of find out what your options are. And so kind of along those lines, when you're trying to figure out, like, okay, what is my credit? Where do I stand? Your credit karma score accurate?
Yeah, so probably one of the most common questions and issues that I deal with as a mortgage lender is, you know, a lot of people monitor their credit through Credit Karma. It's one of the very popular apps. Without getting too much in the weeds of the details behind it, credit scores, they're different models. Think about it like a computer. PCs, you have Apple, you have different models within those, and that's kind of how credit scores are. You have different models, different formulas that calculate credit scores. So Credit Karma uses what's called a Vantage score, which is just one of the formulas. It's not right or wrong. Mortgage lending generally will use your FICO score, which a lot of people have heard of. The bottom line is their formulas are different. They put more weight in different things. We've seen people in both directions where your Credit Karma score, sometimes depending on how you have debt and what your history looks like, sometimes Credit Karma is lower than your actual mortgage credit score, which is what your lender would pull. And oftentimes it's the opposite way, where sometimes your Credit Karma score is higher and kind of misleading as to what it would be from a mortgage standpoint. What we recommend obviously is talk to a lender, talk to somebody that's actually going to be doing it. Don't rely solely on these apps, because we do deal with a lot of people that have a number in their head, and then when we actually get into the process, they become a little frustrated. Might have some work to do, even though we might not think we have work to do.
Okay, so I know when I'm on TikTok, don't judge me, I will have these videos that pop up that give me all these hacks to improve my credit. So are those legit? Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah. So it kind of depends,
Okay. I will never say that everything on there is bad. There are plenty of great tips and good advice on there. I think the easy answer is that everybody's situation is different.
Sure.
One hack, depending on how your current situation is, how you carry debt, what kind of accounts you have. Your credit score might be low just because you have a little too much debt relative to your available balances. One hack might work for that person to help raise their score.
Right.
Somebody else might have an old collection account or something like that. There's different reasons why your score might be might land where it is. Yes, some of those hacks might work, but they're sort of like a Band-Aid. Every situation is so different, and it's really important to tailor your approach to your specific credit score and your own personal situation.
So is there a right way to go about, improving your score so that you can make, these purchases that are life-changing? Buying a home, it's huge, and people, there are people that just feel like they just can't do it. They feel there's a wall between them and buying a home because of some of these things. So how can we improve our scores?
So
the right way,
Yeah, and that's exactly the way to think about it. Is we want to improve our scores the right way, because there are right and wrong ways to improve your score. We see a lot of people that will hire a credit repair company, and not to say that all of those companies are bad by any means. There's plenty of legitimate ones, but there's also plenty of companies that sort of, prey on people and just have a structure or business plan to kind of keep you on the line getting your money every month. A lot of these credit repair companies might dispute accounts for you, kind of like smoke and mirror ways that they can raise your credit score. When you talk to a lender, and on the mortgage side, there are specific rules that we have to follow with your credit. Some of the tactics that these companies use have to be undone when it comes to buying a mortgage. So
that's important to
kind
of point out.
So the best advice I can really give is talk to a lender. The best people, in my opinion, and obviously I'm a little biased, but I'm also a little more educated on the topic, is the people that are going to be helping you get a loan and get a house are the right people to be able to tell you what to do or what not to do.
Right.
We all have the same goal. I want to see you succeed and get to the finish line and close on a house as well. My goal and my focus is to give you the correct steps to get you there without having to have a windy road, make it more difficult than it needs to be.
That windy road, we want to straighten it a little bit. So, we don't want to detour. How long generally does it take to improve your credit score and to get it to where it needs to be?
Yeah, and that's a great question too. There's just so many different ways to look at it. It's again very specific on your score. If you're in a situation where maybe you just have your balances are a little high on your credit card and that's what's driving up your score, it might be as simple as just paying these balances down. We can actually do what's called a rescore. If we were to pull your credit today and we realize we need to pay some balances down, we can pay those down, get some documentation, have that done. Sometimes within a few days, we can have your credit score raised. Different loan programs require different credit scores. The biggest thing for us is we come up with a game plan. We need to know where we need to be, and we can look at it and determine how long that's going to take. We deal with people all the time that might be in the 400s of credit scores or something like that. That might take a little bit longer, 6 months or a year. In probably more times than not, it's a faster process than you might think if we have a really well thought out game plan. Sometimes within a week, like I mentioned, sometimes we can see people 50, 80, 100 points in a month or two. It doesn't have to be as long of a process as a lot of people think it is.
That's reassuring. And I know that there's someone out there that is watching this that is probably breathing a sigh of relief because it doesn't have to be such this daunting kind of like cloud that is hanging over. You mentioned the different types of loans. I think next time we'll get into what those types are and what all they mean and the ins and the outs to kind of better understand.
There's a lot to unpack around loan programs. We can certainly talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, the bottom line is don't be scared off by credit. It's something that is necessary to address.
Sure.
Don't be embarrassed about credit. Everybody has their own challenges. We've all have a journey. We can't change any of that. Getting involved with somebody that really wants to help you and can help you is just so important. Like me specifically, my company, Supreme Lending, we actually have a credit analyst that's on our staff that is very, very good about giving a specific game plan, digging into the actual credit report, giving very specific advice on what to do, how long it's going to take. That doesn't cost any money.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Is, does it cost anything to even ask these questions?
It shouldn't. With us, it doesn't. I can't speak for
Right.
every lender, every company. There are companies out there that will charge you to do this, but you don't have to pay for it. Speaking for myself, my company, that's a service that we offer in good faith that we just want to help you. We want to be a part of the journey. We are very well equipped to be a part of that journey to really help. We don't charge. That's just part of the services we offer to serve all of you, our clients and our agents.
That's great. I'll be sure to put a link to your information below, and so that you can be reached, get more information about Supreme, you can reach out to Matt and have your lending questions answered.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's it.
All right.